This may look like your usual Audi Q7, big, brash, and not particularly blessed in the looks department.
But you'll note there's your usual fuel filler cap here, but if you come around this side with me, you'll see that there's another one here, not for diesel, but it's a charging port which you can connect up to the mains or at an on-street charging point.
This is the e-tron, a plug-in hybrid version of the Audi Q7. Apart from a new front bumper with inbuilt day running lights and no visible tailpipes, it's identical to the normal Q7. It uses a 3-litre V6 diesel mated to quattro 4-wheel drive and an electric motor, giving a pure electric range of 32 miles. Charge it up from a public charging point or a wall box of your home and it'll take 2.5 hours, or between 2.5 and 4.5 from an industrial socket, or 8 hours from a good old 3-pin plug.
Up front, and it's identical to the usual Q7, so that means impeccable build quality. Everything you touch in here feels built to last. It also means there's quite a bit of storage under here, for instance. There's Audi's phone box, which boosts the signal on your phone, and we've got a wireless charging pad there as well for your phone. We've got a couple of cup holders. There's a little slot here for something else. The door bins pass the Carbuyer big bottle test, and the glove box is pretty large as well. Now, the only key difference in here is the virtual cockpit. Now, it comes as standard on the e-tron, and because it's the e-tron, you get a special electricity display. I mean, you don't normally get that in a diesel-powered car, because why would you? Now, the virtual cockpit works in tandem with the display screen here. Now, it's Audi's MMI system. It is one of the best in the business. It's controlled with this rotary control down here, shortcut buttons here, and there's a touchpad, so you can draw out and write out numbers and letters for the sat-nav and telephone system. Now, design-wise, some people think it looks really cool in here. Others think it looks a little bit austere. I'll leave that up to you.
As the Q7 is Audi's flagship SUV, for now at least, it's pretty well equipped, and the e-tron is no exception. As standard, there are LED headlights and scrolling rear indicators, electric front seats, leather trim, sat-nav with connected services, Audi's MMI touch infotainment system, and its excellent virtual cockpit.
Back here, it's just like the usual Q7, so it feels very, very spacious and very light, thanks to these large windows with a very low belt line as well, so children can look out and not feel claustrophobic at all. And like I said, it feels very spacious. I mean, there is lots and lots of space. Look, that seat's set up in my driving position. I'm just over 5'10", and got loads of engine space. Headroom is pretty good too. Now, you can fit 3 adults back here at a push. The middle seat is a little bit narrower than the 2 outer seats, but if you do have a small adult here, they're going to feel pretty comfortable. You can fit 3 child seats back here as well, which is a nice touch. The ISOFIX points are easily reachable. You just pull on this tag, and this little pad comes out, and there are the ISOFIX points. Practicality-wise, well, the door bins are pretty large. There's some nets on the back of the seats as per usual. There's climate control back here, which you can change the temperature of, which is very nice. And here, we've got an armrest with a couple of cup holders as well. The only other thing to mention is the fact that these seats are all independent, so they can all slide forwards and backwards, and to get really comfortable, you can also recline it as well, so you feel like you're lounging in the back of a limousine. It feels very, very comfortable indeed. Round at the boot, this is where the e-tron really does differ from the usual diesel-powered Q7, because once the tailgate lifts up, you'll see you've got a massive boot, but you've also only got 5 seats. Now, the diesel Q7, you've got 2 little seats, making it a 7-seater, but this is a 5-seater only. And the reason for that is that the batteries are stored underneath this boot floor. So not only are the 2 seats removed, but also the underfloor storage. It's a problem the BMW X5 Hybrid also suffers from. The upshot is, though, you do get a massive boot. Look, if I grab the Carbuyer large suitcase, that slots in very easily. The middle-sized one, and the small one, and you can see you've got an absolutely enormous boot. Now, this particular car, we've got air suspension, so you can lower the car down if you're going to load your dog in, for example. There's a little 12-volt socket there as well, a little shopping hook, which is quite nice, and we've got rails there to lash items down. Overall, it is a very practical boot, but if you do want a hybrid SUV that is a 7-seater, your only option at the moment is the Volvo XC90 T8.
The Q7 e-tron is pretty unusual when it comes to plug-in hybrid large SUVs. Its 2 big rivals, the Volvo XC90 T8 and BMW X5 xDrive 40e iPerformance, are powered by 2-litre petrol engines, but the Audi is pulled along by something quite different.
The The big benefit of this is you get one of Audi's punchy 243 brake horsepower 3-litre V6 diesels, none of these 2-litre petrols, thank you very much. And when I say punchy, I really do mean punchy, because 0 to 60 takes 6.4 seconds. That is quick for a near 2.5-ton SUV, and that roaring V6 is assisted by a 126 brake horsepower electric motor, giving a total of 369 brake horsepower and a pretty substantial 600 newton meters of torque. To put that into perspective, that's more torque than the 2-litre diesel Audi puts in the Audi A3.
It's frugal and cheap to run too, if you believe the figures. Audi claims 156.9 mpg and only 48 grams per kilometre of CO2 will be emitted from the exhaust pipes, which equals low benefit-in-kind ratings. Strangely though, despite the Audi's impressive performance figures, it's outpunched by the smaller-engined 401 bhp XC90 T8. The e-tron's relatively small 19-inch wheels make the ride comfortable, but you can make it silky smooth by opting for adaptive air suspension for £2,000, which is well worth it.
All of this weight means that the Q7 isn't the sharpest SUV on the road, but if you do play around with the Drive Select, the Q7 does handle sweetly enough.
When you're not driving enthusiastically, the Q7 really comes into its own. That electric motor does a good job in working with the V6 engine to give great performance. You can run on pure electric power alone, all the way up to 83 miles an hour, and it's perfectly easy to do.
Just like in a lot of hybrids these days, there are a number of driving modes in the Q7 e-tron. We've got pure EV for pure electric motor, we've got hybrid, which uses automatically the battery charge, so it automatically flips between the diesel engine and the electric motor, and we've also got battery hold, so you can hold on to all the batteries charged for use at a later time. However, there isn't a battery charge function, so the diesel engine cannot charge the batteries, and that's a bit of a shame in a £66,000 SUV, especially when you can get that in the Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV, a car that is significantly cheaper.
And just like most hybrids, don't expect to reach the claimed MPG figures. Audi says the Q7 e-tron can manage 156.9 mpg, and in a mixture of town and motorway driving, we only average 42 mpg, which is about what you'd get from the normal Q7 diesel, and quite some way off the real-world MPG of 58 mpg we got in the Volvo XC90 T8. If the majority of your driving is city-based and you can charge up the Q7 at home and at your destination, the e-tron makes sense. But if this isn't your lifestyle, the diesel is the one to go for. The Audi Q7 e-tron then. It's smooth, refined, and has a great mix of power and comfort. If that's all you want from your plug-in hybrid SUV, then the Q7 is worth a look. But if you're after a practical plug-in SUV, then the Volvo XC90 T8 with its 7 seats remains the best buy.